Why do I always do this to myself? It's like 50 degrees, we're working in the cold again. But welcome back, YouTube. Today we're gonna do something that'll liven up the rear end a little bit. We've got an RV6 rear sway bar to install. Already we have the Progress 22mm bar in the car, and if you guys have seen the last video at Autocross, you saw that we got a little bit of lift off oversteer. But I think that was more due to the fact that it was wet and we couldn't get a lot of traction. So we're gonna slap on the RV6 one. That's gonna be a little bit stiffer, and this should be pretty painless. The only thing that you guys need to know for this install is that it'll be a lot easier if you can remove the rear section of the exhaust. If you have your stock exhaust on still, it's a little hard to get the bar in. I did that when I did the Progress one a couple years ago. It took forever with the stock exhaust on. You can do it, just expect to fight a little more. But let's check out what we have in the box. Okay, so in the box, obviously we've got our sway bar here, and then we'll have our mounting bushings that go onto the subframe with the bolts and grease, as well as the end links right here that are much beefier than the stock one, so this should hold up to some abuse. And some nice goodies here that RV6 has provided, a lanyard and some stickers. So let's get down there, and I'm gonna disconnect a little bit of the rear exhaust, and then we'll get started on this job. All right, so with the exhaust off, let me show you what we're working with. So we took this piece here off a little bit so that we could move the entire exhaust down a little bit more. And that is because our sway bar is right here, right above that exhaust hanger right there, this part. And that's gonna be probably the most challenging part of this install, is just getting everything back up here. But otherwise, pretty straightforward. A couple of bolts here. We're gonna undo this here, and then these two, these two bolts here as well to undo the mount, and it should come out. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, so to do this, we're gonna use our 12 to undo the bolt that goes into the control arm, and a 13mm to undo the bolts that hold up our bracket. This bracket back here, so let's go ahead and undo that. And you're gonna want to hold on to this bolt here. We're gonna reuse this. And we're not going to reuse this bolt, so we can set that aside. Okay, so we've got this side loose. Let's repeat on the driver's side. Alright, got the Progress one out. If you saw earlier, you saw that I had to push that middle section of the exhaust down to really grab this out. So that's why I recommend, if you can, undoing your exhaust, the middle section at least, so that you can push this down. If you still have the stock exhaust, I recommend taking off the two hangers on each side as well, so you have more room to push it down. So to assemble the new bar, you'll see that you have three adjustment holes. The one on the inside is going to be the stiffest. This middle one is going to be similar to this Progress 22mm here, and I believe this one is a little stiffer than stock, but not quite as stiff as 22mm. So to put it together, you have your end link here and the supplied nuts and bolts, and what we're going to do is just undo this here, thread the bolt from the outside, and have the nut go on the inside, and do the same thing for that side. we're gonna go ahead and use the stiffest setting because we took out the 22mm, which is equivalent to the middle one there. So we're gonna try out the stiff one and see how it feels. To tighten the end links, we're gonna use a 17 on this side and a 14 on this side. And then to torque it down, RV6 says 50 foot-pounds of torque, so let's go grab a torque wrench, get that snugged down. Alright, that side is done. We'll repeat on the other side. Alright, both sides are torqued down. And now let's get the bushing mounts on. Alright, so with the bushings, you have a metal piece and the polymer piece right here. We're gonna take these apart. This is gonna mount onto the chassis, so we'll set that aside. And we're going to take the supplied silicone grease and grease the inside of here, as well as the outside here. Here's the supplied grease. It's gonna take a little bit here. And then take your finger and just kind of rub it on the entire surface here. Probably gonna need a little bit more than what I just did, but and then we'll add some on the inside as well. Don't be afraid to be very generous with it. You know, you don't want squeaky bushing, so apply generously. And once that's on, go ahead and open that a bit and slide it over the bar. All right. So for the most part, we've got things in place. It's ready to go in, and then we'll tighten the rest of it down. So let's go ahead and set you guys underneath the car. So we've got the sway bar in loosely mocked up with the end links and the control arm. Next thing we're going to do is install the bracket that's provided, and the thick part is going to go towards the top and this one towards the bottom. And you'll need a number 6 ratchet or socket to use the provided bolts. So we've got the brackets on there loosely fitted, not completely tight yet. The next thing we're going to do is want to put together the end link right there, the one that bolts into the lower control arm. What we're going to do is we're going to take a flathead to kind of move that bolt hole till it's straight, and then we'll thread in our bolt. All right, that's in. We'll do the same thing on the other side. That side is on, and now we'll go ahead and tighten everything down. I don't have the exact torque specs for the end links or the brackets, but let's just make sure they're snug and tight, and you'll be good to go. Kind of go over again the things to really keep in mind. So we have the bar in, looks pretty great, and these are the number 6 hex head bolts that I had to screw in. To get to the top one, I reached through with an extension through here, and you can see where the top bolt is. So that's how I got that one. And I just kind of kept pushing down this end link so that it fits. So yeah, that's kind of a quick summary of reinstalling it. Everything's tightened down. We're gonna clean up. I'm going to take it for a test drive just to make sure nothing is loose, but we're not really going to feel the full effects of it until we head to the track, which will be in a couple of videos. So be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for that video. But otherwise, that's going to be it for this install. Pretty quick if you are prepared for it. Just got to make sure the exhaust is out of the way, otherwise you'll be in there fighting a long time. So be sure to follow my Instagram at QMedia, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. We're almost at 600 subscribers. We might have passed it by the time this video comes out. I want to thank you guys so much for supporting the channel, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already so that we can hit 1,000. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.